welcome in to Come Cook with Joe this week. Tonight we're going to be doing an easy brown sugar pork chop alongside of some nice fried cabbage. So we'll go ahead and get our hands washed up. And we'll get started. So tonight, you're definitely going to need something that can cook off the pork chops and then go straight into the oven. If not, then you might want to grab a baking sheet and get it ready because we have to sear the pork chops and then we'll stick those in the oven to finish them off. That's probably what we'll do first in order to get those cooking, and then we'll come back and we'll start on our cabbage. So first things first, we're going to need a little bit of oil, some utensils to work with. This is for the cabbage here. Preheat the oven. Yeah, Kim says you need to preheat the oven. So we're going to go ahead and preheat the oven to 350 degrees. So we'll get that started. And over here we have all of our ingredients. So we've got our cutting board. Tonight we're going to be using some shears. We're going to cheat and actually cut the bacon up so it's a little bit easier. So if you've got some shears, grab them because it's going to be real easy. If not, you can still use your knife to cut those up. So we've got our cabbage. We've got our onion. It's going to call for 1/3 cup, so I'll probably do about half of that onion. Some smoked paprika, brown sugar. We've got some chili powder, some garlic powder, salt and pepper. We've got our chops here, which I've cut to about 1.5 inch thick. And then we've got about 5 or 6 strips of bacon, which about a half a pound is what I came up with there. So we'll need a small bowl in order to get that started with. So the first thing we need is 1/3 cup of brown sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my brown sugar. Oops. I need to transfer this bag, I think. This one's just a little bit harder to deal with. Okay, don't put your brown sugar up yet because we're going to need it for the cabbage as well. So this is going to actually be for the pork chops. So we've got that set. Go ahead and pour that in there. Now, you're probably wondering why didn't you press that and make sure that it was packed. I was over 1/3 cup, so it should be about right. Most of the time, whenever you deal with brown sugar, you want to pack it though. Make sure that you've got the right amount. So now we're going to come back over here. I believe what we're looking at then is a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic. So we're going to go ahead and drop that in here. Calls for a 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder. Right there. About a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And about a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Oops. I just filled that so it came out fast. Let me get a spoon real fast. One thing I forgot to grab to get this mixed up. So we're just going to go ahead and mix this up. And this is going to be our base for our pork chops. Break down all the clumps of brown sugar and the garlic. Now, again, that pork chop I had on the loin, Kim and I are going to probably do a pork loin roast tomorrow. But I went ahead and cut those off, and that way I can dictate how thick I wanted those pork chops. And again, you're going to save your money in the long run if you do it that way because it's just so much better because you can get so many more chops out of it than if you buy them straight from the store like that. So put that in the sink. All right, now we're going to take our chops. I'm going to come over here because it'll be a little bit easier just to lay it on the thing. So what we want to do first, though, is we want to make sure that we get our oil hot. So put down about 1 to 2 tablespoons, my front side. I'm going to turn this to medium-high. Even though I'm cooking with a cast iron skillet, and I know that it gets hotter than normal, I want that to be really good and hot. So because, again, we're going to sear these. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come in here, and we're going to take our pork chops and just lay that right in that brown glaze. Brown sugar glaze. I'm going to try to hit all the sides with it and get a really good coating on there. Sort of mash it down so it'll get all the way on. So there's one. Put that right back there. And this will be our second one. Again, we want a really decent coat on there and try to get it all the way around. Even on the sides. That brown sugar goodness. All right. Quick wash of the hands. Now that oil should start simmering, and it should start smoking just a little bit. So you don't want it to smoke too much. You don't want it to burn your chops whenever you get them on. But what's really going to be nice is once we get these chops in there, that glaze or that brown sugar is going to caramelize and glaze on these pork chops. It's going to be really, really good. Okay, got that taken care of. Now we're just waiting on the oil to get hot. It's starting to get there. I know, right? Kim said, watch picking up my pan. Obviously, cast iron, it doesn't stop right there. It gets hot all the way through. So this last Christmas, she bought me a silicone holder, but since it's going in the oven, I can't utilize that tonight. So I'll probably want to grab a hot pad, huh? Right? Kim says I'll pull a George. I won't go there. He might be watching tonight. Hope everybody's week's been good. No, mine's been long. It's been long, but it seems like it's been by fast. So it's sort of contradictory, I guess, huh? All right, we got a little bit of smoke on here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab these chops, and we'll just lay them right in there. They should start sizzling right away. Get rid of my plate. Now we're going to let those cook there, and we'll let those go for for just a couple minutes, maybe about 2 to 3 minutes. Then we'll flip it over and we'll get the other side going. So my oven's almost preheated all the way. So again, we'll go ahead and work on these chops, and we'll get these chops in the oven, and then we'll go over and start working on our fried cabbage. So they're smelling really good.
Yeah, Kathy says that it looks good.
Yeah, it's smelling good. So if you're cooking with me, I hope you, which I hope you are. I know I got the list on there late this week, and so I know Cindy. It's not hot yet. I know Cindy couldn't get out to the store yet. So, but as you see in the pan, that brown sugar is starting to caramelize. I've got my tongs. I figured probably be the easiest way to turn them over. And there we go. Beautiful. All right. We'll get this side seared. Smoke's rolling up at us. Now, obviously, if you have a conduction top, you want to make sure that you have you're really careful with your cast iron on that so it doesn't break. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and take these and throw them in the oven. It is preheated. Now I can turn that blower off. Of course, it's going to blow up in our face once we open that, I'm sure. Okay, now we'll go ahead and get started on our cabbage. So let me grab let me see here. I need my bacon first. So let me grab my bacon. Okay, then we'll come over here. This will be easier. Oops, I forgot to turn the top off. Okay. Now, again, if you have shears, this is going to be real easy tonight because we want these in smaller pieces. So you're just going to take a piece of your bacon and then just come in here and cut it up into smaller pieces. Just make sure not to get your fingers, of course. So these are really good for chicken. You can cut the chicken right off the bone. For bacon, obviously, this is what I use a lot with bacon. It just makes it so much easier. So you don't have to stand there with your knife and cut through the bacon. I'm going to go 2 at a time, maybe. It'll go a little bit quicker. So next week we have a creamy What is it, hon?
Creamy
Creamy Parmesan tuna casserole. So Kim and I discovered that recipe recently, and I think you guys would really enjoy it. So hopefully you'll give it a try. We're going to sort of go rogue a little bit from the recipe that we originally tried, and we'll be adding some extra stuff. So hopefully next week you can come and join us, and I really think you're going to enjoy that meal. It's the first time I've actually had something planned, week in advance, which is sort of crazy. But yeah, I think maybe you guys will like that one. So I'm more of a tuna salad type guy. Really don't care much for tuna noodle casserole, but I tell you, this is a winner. So it'll be really good.
Mom's watching.
Oh, hi, Mom. Glad you made it in. I'm glad you remembered it. All right. Get our hands washed up here, and we're going to go ahead and get that turned on. Okay. Set that to medium-high heat. Let's get rid of our plate. Put that in the recycler. Okay. We are going to crisp out this bacon. And once that gets crispy, then what we're going to do is we're going to take it off the heat. And we're going to add the onion. So we're going to probably go ahead and, while that's getting ready to cook, we're going to come over here and cut up our onion. And again, I told you guys I was going to do half an onion. So I'm just going to go right in here and take half of it off. I'm going to leave that on. Put the other half away. Oops. I always double bag my leftover onion so it doesn't stink the refrigerator up. Put that away.
Your mom's asking when do you add the paprika?
The paprika?
Yeah.
That'll be here in a little bit. That's actually going to go in with our our cabbage.
My mom's watching.
Hi, Cindy. Okay, now we've got our onion cut up. Put that back here on the chopping board. Dice those up a little bit finer. Bacon's starting to sizzle. Okay. Bacon a quick stir here real fast. And the bacon's smelling good. So hopefully everybody got a little bit of rain today. We haven't seen any at our house yet. The winds are really blowing hard. And it's really dark. We're going to move these onions right off the cutting board because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back in here with my cabbage and get it started. The bacon is sizzling. I've got my big gumbo spoon that I'm going to be working with the cabbage with tonight. And then I also have a pair of tongs though. because what they want you to do is make sure that you strain out the bacon and leave the juices in the pan. So if you're working with that tonight, just make sure that you might have a spatula to take those bits out. So. I'm only going to use half this cabbage head because Kim and I have another recipe that's coming up that calls for cabbage. And I think for just me and her it will be enough. So I'm going to grab another bag. Alrighty. Riley's on line. I guess he had to make up for National Dog Day yesterday, huh? I know you posted a picture. I didn't get around to it. Okay, the bacon's coming along good. Now, your cabbage. A couple things you can do with your cabbage. First off, you want to make sure that you core it and take off the outer leaves. Now, the next step is up to you. You can do one of two things here. You can go ahead and shred it, or you can coarsely chop it like what I'm going to do. And again, it's totally up to you, matter of preference, and you can do it either way. But for our sake tonight, I'm just going to come in here and coarsely chop it. So we'll make some cuts this way, and then we'll come back the other side and make it the other way. Just like that. And we'll leave that set right there until we need it. We can concentrate on our bacon now. So the thicker slices are going to be nice because it's going to be a little bit more consistent, a little bit better quality, I think, with the cabbage instead of having the little small pieces in there. So it should be pretty good. So those are all frying good. Our pork chops are still cooking, which is good. Guys, with the pork chops, you want to leave those in about 10-15 minutes. That's why I thought by the time we got done with the cabbage, we should be able to pull those pork chops and they should be pretty much done. Once you pull them, though, you want to let them sit for 3 minutes. And again, anytime you guys are cooking with meat, you always want to make sure that you let that meat rest after you cook it so those juices can get pulled back into the meat and they can get distributed more evenly. So that's what you're looking for there. So this bacon has put out a lot of grease, which is going to be really good in our cabbage. So that's kind of exciting. And then after we pull the pork chops out and let them rest for 3 minutes, I'm going to basically put a bed of the fried cabbage down and then plate the pork chops right on top of that. So the next thing we need to do here once we get done with this is we're going to pull out the bacon.
Do you know what the temp is on the oven?
The temp on the oven is 350. So we had that preheated. We seared off the pork chops and we put that in the 350 oven. So they're cooking right now. My top one is roughly about medium high with the bacon. That's what I've been cooking those with. So.
She also said that she bought a bag of cabbage to cheese.
Oh, okay.
She didn't cut it.
So my mom bought a bag of shredded cabbage. So she took a shortcut, which is fine. That's good stuff. So anytime that you can cut down on your prep time, obviously it's going to give you easier time to do what you have to do. So. Okay, this is looking pretty good, so I think what I'm going to do is try to start pulling some of this off. Set that right over there. And like I said, I have some tongs here, so that way I can leave as much of this juice here in the pan as possible. And I don't have a paper towel down on the plate because I want some of this juice, what doesn't get absorbed by the plate, to come back into the pan with the chunks of bacon. So because, again, we're trying to make this as savory as possible, and that fat juice will be really good in that. Okay, I've got all that done. Now our next step is we're going to leave that juice in there, and we're going to grab our onions and we're going to fry off our onions until they're translucent. So we'll set that bacon aside. Woo, pop. We'll grab our onions, come back over here. I'll grab my spoon and throw those right back in that fat. Get those stirred up. Oh yeah. Doesn't that smell amazing? If you aren't cooking with me, I wish I had smell-o-vision so you guys could smell what we're smelling here. Let's see if I can get that spoon to rest. Get rid of this plate. Okay. Again, guys, we're going to let these onions cook until they're translucent and tender, and that'll be really good. So we might want to lower our heat just a pinch because we don't want those to caramelize too much. We just want them to sort of get set up. So after this, we're going to add the cabbage, salt, pepper, paprika, and we're going to mix all that together. So there's your answer, Mom. We haven't added it in yet. We're going to add it in with our cabbage. Make sure you're pulling all those little bits up from the bottom, almost like a deglazing. It's kind of nice. All those flavors will be inside of our cabbage when we get it done. I'm leaning to the side and it's throwing my camera off. Okay, those are looking awfully good. So let's go ahead and grab our cabbage, throw our cabbage on top. All right, I'm going to start breaking this head up a little bit. Make sure you get all that goodness stirred in with the onions. All right, we've got that there. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab my salt, pepper. I'm going to grab my paprika. Now, some of you guys might be on a keto diet. Those of us that aren't, if you want to, what you can do is, I'm going to get a spoon. I'm just going to take a big heaping spoon of brown sugar and throw in here also. It's going to add a little bit of sweetness to it. So the recipe actually called for 1 tablespoon. So again, I'm just going to take that and throw it right in there. Just going to add sweetness to it, which will be really good. It'll offset the saltiness of the bacon. So that'll be kind of nice. So now we're going to come in here with our salt, and it's just salt and pepper to taste. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of salt in there. Again, we've got the saltiness from the bacon, so don't over salt that. We're going to throw some pepper in there. And now your smoky paprika, basically what you're wanting to do there is you're wanting to add a quarter teaspoon. I'm going to go a little bit heavy because it's my mother's spice. Kim will tell you. Now we're going to get all this stirred up. Yeah, so my mom called me last night and she was asking what she could do about the brown sugar. The brown sugar, if you have diabetes or if you're on a keto diet, if you're on a Whole30 and you want to cut the sugar out, that's optional for this recipe here. With the pork chops, that was a little bit harder to find a substitute or to omit. But again, if you don't want to do the brown sugar, then just fry off your pork chops and everything will be fine. Okay, now we're going to cook that down until the cabbage is tender. So that's going to start wilting for us. And then once that cooks down and the cabbage is tender, we're going to take our bacon and throw it back on top. So, and get that all mixed back in. So, and then by that time, once it gets all back together and we warm it up back together for the service, then our pork chops hopefully should be done by then. So that's why we wanted to get those in first. Didn't do a very good job cutting my head up, did I? That's okay. So tomorrow is Friday. Hopefully everybody's ready for the weekend. I know I am. It's going to be a busy weekend, but it's still going to be a fun weekend. I have a couple things I've got to cook for, which is sort of exciting. So, okay, we'll let that sit there for a minute and cook a little bit longer, and then we'll go ahead and add in our bacon so we can go ahead and start putting some of these spices away. You can keep your salt and pepper out if you'd like, just in case you need to adjust. And then that way at least it'll be at hand. I'm just going to go ahead and put mine away because I don't want salt and pepper too much more. So, put our smoked paprika up. Okay. Cabbage looks like it's getting pretty tender. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and throw our bacon back in, get it all stirred back up. Excuse me. And again, I'm going to try to scrape off as much of that bacon fat as possible. Get our paper plate and our recycler. Now we'll go ahead and stir the cabbage with the bacon, and it looks amazing. And it smells amazing. Alrighty. I'm going to go ahead and grab our chops out. Oh yeah. Set those there on the top. Turn off the oven, thank you. All right. Now this is going to start our 3-minute rest period, so those pork chops can rest. We got a nice glaze in there with those pork chops, so that brown sugar sort of caramelized, as you see. So it'll be a pot to have to clean really good, but at least it's cast iron, so I can get in there and really scrub it and get it clean. And yes, you should clean your cast iron skillets. The seasoning, guys, is in the actual cast iron. It's not actually what you cook with. And if you don't if you don't clean it, then basically that bacteria is going to be able to grow. So what you need to do is you need to clean that really good and then season it with oil. So what you need to do is clean it real good, get you a little bit of oil. I usually use olive oil. They use canola all the time in Lodge. But just basically take your oil and dap that there. Make sure it's really dry. And then take your oil and dap it in the center. And then take you a paper towel and wipe it down real good, all the surfaces. And then you've just re-seasoned your cast iron skillet. But always make sure that you're washing your cast iron skillet. That's an old wives' tale. I'm sorry? Oh, I use soap. Yes. Sure do. And Lodge is sort of against it, but using the steel wool. But I even use steel wool whenever I clean it. And I know it's a cardinal sin that you shouldn't do it, but it works. It stays clean. It cooks very well. Nothing sticks. It's a good thing. So, okay, guys. We looked at about 2 minutes there, so I'm going to go ahead and grab our dinner plates and bring them over. And that's our 3 minutes. So I'll go ahead. I've already turned that off. So now what we have to do is plate it. So I'll take some good old.
Your mom said that she kept up and it looks just like ours. And it smells great.
Well, good. Get our fried cabbage placed right there on the plate. Set that back off the burner. Grab my cast iron skillet and come over here so it's a little bit easier to deal with. Put those chops right there on that bed. Good stuff. All right. So guys, there we have it. We have easy brown sugar pork chops on a bed of great fried cabbage. So hopefully you guys had fun tonight. It was easy. It was quick. Again, hopefully everything you guys had should be in the house, hopefully. So hopefully you guys really enjoyed. So let me turn you around for the send-off. As you guys see Riley again. So guys, again, next week's going to be fun. If you don't like tuna, come by and try it anyways. Like I said, I'm a more tuna salad type guy and not much of a casserole. But this one's really good. And like I said, we're going to add goat rogue a little bit and do a little bit different ingredients to it. So hopefully it turns out great. I know the first time we had it, it was phenomenal. So next week, be looking for, well, probably tomorrow, be looking for the shopping list. I'll get it on there earlier this week. And that way you guys can go shopping and then come in and cook with Joe next Thursday. See you guys later. Bye.